case, right? They included the fraudulent marriage to Aaliyah Halton, R.I.P. Aaliyah, and because of that, a lot of things were on YouTube. There is a certain YouTuber where Demetrius Smith called in because he's the one who said it, I believe, on the series
that he paid for the identification.
Mm-hmm. And then there was also a bribery, right?
Bribery.
Do you know?
I'm going to need you to explain that a little bit more, Lizzete. You will not be hearing this whole video because it is not my video. Just need to do some rebuttal and some Q&As on Miss Lizzete.
What do you know? Or is there anything you can tell us about any of this? You know, Demetrius?
All I know is it's like when I met Robert in 1995, January 1995 in Aventura, Florida. Okay, I met him with Barry Hankerson. Only when I got to Chicago, which when after I turned 18, is when I started.
And see, this is what I can't stand. Because you get that split story. I only met him with Barry Hankerson. You don't know what done happened after the fact of her meeting with Barry Hankerson. All that you were informed was that, yeah, when she arrived in Chicago. Wow, I'm going to need to know, when did you arrive there? Who did you go with? Who called you? Who paid for it? Who did all of that? Did you pay for it? Did your mama say you could go? Where was your daddy? I get it. And later on in the video, you stated that you didn't have a relationship with your mom and your dad. Well, honey, I suggest, and in my opinion, that you should have had started to have, get your relationship back with your parents or some other kind of wiser adult out there so that they can probably have given you their opinion about you taking off and traveling on over to Chicago because your parents were absent in your life, allegedly. But let me see what you got to say.
I met Demetrius and I was like having, he was the guy. He was the one that would take care of me. Mm-hmm. When I went.
So you got to Chicago and you met Demetrius, and Demetrius was the guy, and he the one that took care of you from the beginning on your time that you arrived to Chicago. Okay, we're going to make some sense of this because right now, here, you said at 11.01 in the video that Demetrius was the one that took care of you.
To the hospital for certain things, he's the one that would show up. I mean, Robert wouldn't show up. And it was to the point.
What'd you say? Robert never showed up. Robert never showed up. Well, my first question was, how long did you sit and play around with Demetrius, and what was the reason why that Demetrius needed to run you to the hospitals and stuff? Were you plane sick? Did you get sick on a plane, or what happened there? So if Robert never showed up, I guess my second question to Lizzete would be, how long did you sit and wait for him? What time did he come? How come at that moment you didn't say, well, you know what, Demetrius, I'm going to go on back, home, and when Robert has time for me or, can show up as expected and as planned, like he said, then have him holler at me. See, that's how women do. That's how people who has common sense or think. You got to think expeditiously. You got to think fast. You got to stay on your toes. Well, hell, I ain't come here for your ass, Demetrius, or R. Kelly ain't here. I'm about to bounce. Have him holler at me. That's just how most, girls, women out here that knows the game and stuff, and that is aware that this is a man that likes to have different relationships because of who he is, and therefore he is entitled to do. And you entitled to do whatever you want to do. It's up to the receiver to decide if they want to play the game. But let's see what else you got to say, Lizzete.
Point where I was living in hotels, for months. It was either the Nico or the Marriott or the.
See, there's your other mistake. You were living in hotels. After that first hotel, maybe the second one, because I'm sure they, you downtown, so those are nice hotels down there. You were enjoying the hotel stay and things like that, and you got to eat and all of that stuff while you still sit and wait on Robert Sylvester Kelly. Somewhere in your time frame, nothing clicked in your head to adios amigos. I did not come down here for this shit. But let me see, because I think you got something a little bit more interesting to say.
I was moving around like a prostitute, like, like an escort. And, I didn't get, this is not who I was. This is what I was turned into. My depressions.
Hold up. Bag it up, honey. This is not what you was turned into by omission of Robert Kelly. This is what you allowed yourself to turn into due to the celebrity status of Robert Sylvester Kelly. You felt that that man was worthy, keyword, worthy to wait on. That's the real deal on your situation. You saw a legend. You saw a star. You saw an opportunity. And after we see an opportunity, we set up our agenda. I don't know what your agenda was, Lizzete. Could have been, I'm going to get me some good tonight. And I'm going to put it on him, and he going to love me, and he going to take care of me, and I'm going to take care of him mentally, because you can't take care of him financially, because you ain't got shit. You ain't had shit. So, yeah, you dropped the ball right there on having common sense, but they're still waiting on this little interesting part that you mentioned. Let me see.
Problem that I have started in those hotel rooms, okay? And the good thing I'm gonna tell about Demetrius was always a gentleman to me. Demetrius was a person that really loved Robert, okay? I don't have nothing to say about him. I don't know what happened there. All I know is that if you have a bunch of people that's not looking out for you, that's only yesing your fucking ass to death, and then you have someone else that really cares about you and is calling you out on your shit, who they gonna try to get the fuck out of there?
That is so true.
Okay, before we agree to that, I'm going to have to rewind it, because it sound like a bunch of jibber-jash to me. But I got to, let me see. What the fuck did she just say? 'Cause, let me see. What the hell you just said?
Turned 18 is when I started I met Demetrius, and I was like having, he was the guy. He was the one that would take care of me. When I went to the hospital for certain things, he's the one that would show up. I mean, Robert wouldn't show up. And it was to the point where I was living in hotels, for months. It was either the Nico or the Marriott or the Sofitel. I was moving around like a prostitute, like, like an escort. And, I didn't get, this is not who I was. This is what I was turned into. My depression's problem that I have started in those hotel rooms, okay? And the good thing I'm going to tell about Demetrius was always a gentleman to me. Demetrius was a person that really loved Robert, okay? I don't have nothing to say about him. I don't know what happened there. All I know is that if you have a bunch of people that's not looking out for you, that's only yesing your fucking ass to death, and then you have someone else that really cares about.
Okay, now let me speak on that, because that's a little truth, Lizzete. When you have a bunch of people that are around you and that is yesing your ass to death, quote and unquote, that's possible. You know why that's possible? Because as long as the hand is getting fed to take care of your family from working for someone, you have to say yes. I'll give you an example of it, right? I get up and I go to work every day pretty much 11, 12-hour shifts. And I have managers and supervisors that oversees me as I try to complete my job. And every now and then, the job that they give me, it gets interrupted because something else has come about where they may need help in a different area. So at that time, I would get approached and then be like, hey, we need you to go so-and-so, so-and-so, knowing that I haven't even finished the first job that they gave me. But due to the fact that these are the people that pay me, that I am employed by, I have to say, yes, okay, I have to go do it. Or guess what? I probably won't get paid or reprimanded some kind of goddamn way. And with the people that you're talking about that says that they are yes sirs and yes ma'ams and this and that, guess what? They didn't want to not get paid. So they were just precisely doing what the hell that they were told to do by the boss man who owned all the duckies, who worked his ass off for the duckies, who built his clout and his status up as a legend to be able to have those type of people who are desperately wanting to have money and will do possibly anything to get it. So with what you're speaking on, and in my opinion, I believe that, yes, they became yes sirs and yes ma'ams. Let's see the second part of your shit.
About you and is calling you out on your shit. Who they gonna try to get the fuck out of there?
So are you implying because you felt that the shit that Demetrius told you and all of that good bubblegum shit about Robert Sylvester Kelly was correct? It was factual? As you learned later on down the road of how much Demetrius actually took and lied on about Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly, you learned that way down the road before you put that prejudgment on him and took sides with Demetrius, because Demetrius was a good guy because he helped you get off to the hospitals and all of that shit. Okay, but you failed to tell the real reason of why Robert Sylvester Kelly probably stopped messing with Demetrius. Out of all people, I'd like to hear that from you.
That is so true. Yeah, you got somebody coming.
I have to go forward because I want to keep the person's voice out the video.
His issues with his mother, when he lost his mother. He used to cry to me. This is why I felt bad for this guy, because the guy had problems growing up. But you know what? I had fucking problems too. I had an alcoholic mother.
So right there is where I'll end this video, because she says that she had problems too. Let me do some suggestions to all of the ladies that likes to go out and find the older men or the starstruck men or whatever. And if you have problems, you have issues of your own, nothing will work in that relationship because of your past history of going through a lot of things. If you bring that baggage along with you, it's a promise that you're already looking for this person to help you out, to help you deal with your situation, let alone if they are going through a situation as well. You try to mend those two together with all of these mental and trouble issues that you're going on. Relationship is not going to work. If you were looking for something and you want something to happen, try to go into a relationship as clean as possible, meaning that get yourself help, get your mental status cleaned up, get your health cleaned up, and go in with a good bill of rights of yourself, and it's a possibility that your relationship can work. Now, I'm going to take you guys over here to this right here, what I found. I found this very interesting because, we all talk about how there's a lot of older men that dates the younger women. So if you have chemistry and the compatibility that keeps you enjoyed with each other in and out of bed, you both want the relationship enough. You bridge the gap and you support each other. And when I hear Lizzete speak on that part of it, it seems like to me that this will relate to her, where, you know, she felt that they had the chemistry. She felt that they were compatible because they both had dealt with the mental and the sexual issues and all of the above. And yeah, I feel that she, you know, thought that they could bridge a gap and support each other and build a everlasting life behind it. Now, I have not read this book here, you guys, and I just want to point this out as well, because this is coming from an author. What is her name? Let's see, what is this woman's name? What is it? Ardashia Townsend. I am going to try to get this book because I like to read it and get a little bit more inside of her head as well. She goes out and does interviews and everything, and she comes up with her analysis on topics like this. You know, this one here just tickles me to death, because what she's done now is created this book here to show women how to date older men. So there you have it. There is rules out there now on if you want to date an older man, you know, go grab the book, and she has the rules to it. But yet then we have these situations out here where we have our 15, 16, 17, 18s or whatever that goes out and find interest in older men. But then when the oopsie happens, it's bad. So as you can see how everything just contradicts itself, all for a dollar bill. And it's a situation that we will not ever be able to fix. In my opinion on Lizzete, you know, I really wish that she would have found her a home over in the Playboy Mansion. I feel that, you know, that would have been the best thing for her, you know, and that's just my opinion. I don't know, you guys, but I thought I'll just touch on that one and lay a little bit of my opinion on it. And this video here, you guys, had to been almost 3 hours long, but I just wanted to touch on and get some feel of who in the hell is Lizzete. You know, I've watched the whole video and found a little bit more detailing events about her, but all I can say about her is that, yeah, she dropped the ball clearly on common sense. You know, you dropped the ball, my dear. So let's see what else I have up in here. Okay, we're going to go a little bit over what is predatory behavior. We're going to see if we can recognize some of the behavior type in relationships. But let's see what it says. Sometimes we get into a relationship with people and they start well, but then later on they are objectionable behaviors that we notice. Some of those behaviors might be relatively benign. If someone tends to leave their dirty clothes laying around, then most people would agree that it's not a basis for ending a partnership or a marriage. But what about behaviors that are in no way acceptable in society? What about predatory behaviors, for instance? So let's see what the article tells us what it is. When it comes to relationships, predatory behaviors can have a fairly broad definition. One kind of overt behavior where the individual has made a plan to stalk. You need to stalk someone with harmful intentions towards them. Oh, I don't see any of that happening, but let's move on. Their aim in the case might be to sexually assault the person they have in their sights, or they may wish to perpetrate an act of violence against them. Their intentions could also be something like robbery, and there are also predatory behaviors that are more crimes of opportunity in this case, rather than the stalking behavior. You might see the person target someone who happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like on a dark desert street. Predatory sexual behaviors. A male predatory behavior that is sexual is much more common than the female. Women aren't always victims. Women aren't always the victims. I need to see what that says, and then I'm going to go back to we'll go back to that. That was interesting. So, this is going to be kind of long, though. Hello. Oh, I'm going to have to come back and do a follow-up on this article here. I don't know about the women, because if we're going to talk about the men, I need to know about the women as well. So, but the intentions with such behavior might be rape. Or it could be something like fondling or groping in a crowded subway. And you might also get behavior such as placing of the camera in the public bathroom and up the skirt in unsuspected rooms. And Well, I remember, y'all, when I was in high school, and if you wear a skirt to school and stuff, and you got to go up the stairs or whatever, I kid you not, would have all like the little young boys would, drop a pencil or something and lay down on the stairs and act like that they're picking them up to look under your skirt. But then at that time, the girls back then, we kind of caught on to it. So then you would wear what you have, like they call your biker shorts and shit, up under your skirt. It's crazy. I don't know. Predator violent behavior, predator sexual behavior don't have to be mutually exclusive. They can be tied directly into each other. For instance, the predator might have it in mind to beat someone up in addition to sexual assault. Then violence can be about other things than sex. It can be brought on a side person who is particularly religious, crimes, and predator. Usually, predator would try and put themselves in a location where they might run into a person that they deem suitable for attack. For instance, they might spend a lot of time in part of the town where a suitable target is likely to show up. You guys get the idea, right? I think this is something that we need to continue to just constantly educate ourselves on, women, so that you will know the signs of them. You would know when to turn the light bulb of your common sense on and say, run for the border, okay? So that you don't get caught up in such a situation that, most people never overcome. And if a situation happens to happen to them pertaining any sexual predatorious event, they will take their past and bring it back to combine it with the future event that can happen to them. And, things just starts to look terrible and will end up right where we are. So on that note, I am going to end this video. It's just something that I brought to you guys. Yeah, there's the one that she stands with survivors, and we kind of got to let her stand with the survivors. We're going to have some that agree, and we're going to have some that don't agree with the situation. We have most of the people out there that has used their common sense. So it coming up to what could possibly happen at the end of the story after doing the trial. I have a lot of people that already has their opinions on the verdict of this trial of Robert Sylvester Kelly, but I don't know, you guys. My job here is to bring you some opinionated news on it. It's not to be biased or unbiased. I stand very neutral in what I say, but my opinions are my opinions, and this is how I felt about Lizzete. I don't need to hear the rest of her detailing story, just the beginning of how she started off. And again, my opinion on Lizzete was she dropped the ball on her common sense, knowing that Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly is a man, which is not illegal by law to have multiple girlfriends. One thing that I can say about these females, a lot of them, in my opinion, none of them took the risk of actually, like, I don't know, if it was so bad at some point, you know, it's like, you can force, I don't want to say force, you can have a situation where, you know what, if it's this bad, you know, I'm going to have to take death over being treated this way, you know, and it's, you know, and I'm just throwing that out there because none of them ever talked about that. They all talk about dying after they leave, or the depression that they continue to go through after leaving the presence of Robert Sylvester Kelly. So I don't know. I think it was me, you know, we'd had to fight. You know, I'd had to have black eyes, a broken neck, broken arm, broken ankle, and everything. You know, I had to be close to death, you know, because that's just the way I am. I'm a fighter. If I know that some things are not right, you know, that agenda that I had planned on my way into the situation will immediately do a 360 on your ass, and yeah, I'm gonna be hurt, you gonna be hurt, and I'm gonna have a black eye, you gonna have a black eye, and that's some shit that you're gonna have to explain to public figures and all of that stuff like that. But well, you know what, on that note, all I can do is wish Lizzete well on the stand, if she's taking a stand, and I'm very, very well anticipating the cross-examination on Miss Lizzete, but we shall see. Y'all have a good day. Gotta go. Bye.